I've been put on the spot here, really. I was supposed to, well, someone else is supposed to do his presentation, but he's sunning himself in Spain right now. So I'm giving him the evil eyes right now. So this is my, second presentation I've ever done. So I was just giving myself a few tips. One of the tips would be to imagine the audience naked. Yeah. And then I've realised there was a few of my colleagues in the audience, and I've just forgot that one. Yep, don't do that. Okay, so I work for Skanska. We are a Swedish construction company. We were formed in 1887, so we're quite old, got a bit of experience. And we build stuff, basically. So here's the gherkin, and just for somewhere down there, there's a flower pot. You should have noticed earlier in Rob's little slide. So this building was built in 2001. We also build bridges. So this is Pensacola Bridge in America. So this is being built as we speak. It's a 4-kilometre long bridge, due to be completed in 2020, I believe. We build smart motorways. It's the M25. Unfortunately, we don't build smart drivers, so if you're ever stuck on the M25, it's nothing to do with Skanska, it's to do with the drivers. We are a Crossrail, and we've had dealings with HS2, so we're doing the enabling works on that at present, so it's not a bad project. But our flagship project that I'm very proud of, and it's the best project ever, is this one at TfL in Highbury. The only reason I say that is because it's my project I'm working on at the moment. So we divert utilities across this bridge here. So it's a joint venture between us and Hockteeth, and we are taking these utilities, modelling those and pushing those across this bridge. Very complicated job. If you can imagine, this is right outside Highbury Station. So at match day, you've got quite a few people coming through at that station that we have to maintain. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about VR and AR, and I love doing the graveyard shifts because I just know that all of my slides have already been taken up by everybody else in the room, and you've probably seen it all before. So I've got a slightly different spin on what I'm talking about anyway. So, gamification is a bit of a buzzword going around Skanska at the moment. It's the application of typical elements of a game playing, e.g. point scoring, competitiveness, but it's the bottom comment I like. Gamification is exciting because it promises to make the hard stuff in life fun. And this is why I like this. This is something that we're doing in Skanska at the moment, is gamification. So, I'm a gamer. I think most people in this room probably are gamers. No? Hands up, who's a gamer? No? Yeah, there we go. Always my wife calls me a saddo because she thinks, spent all that time up in a room, what are you doing up there? So there's me flying my aircraft, just about to dock onto the space station there. By the way, other space trading games are available, by the way. And there's me promptly crashing my ship into the space station because, like most gamers, I'm a noob. I don't read any of the instructions. I just go out there, fly the ship and crash it. So let's put us in one of these. Would you like to see me in one of these and flying you to your holiday? No, I don't think you would you? To fly one of those things, you have to have about 2 years of training in simulators. You're not allowed to go in one. You can probably fly a little aircraft around, you know, with a guy next to you, but you're not allowed to get in one of those things until you've had 2 years training in a simulator. And the same goes really for the stuff that we're trying to do within Skanska. So we've learned that you put a guy on site and, you know, put him in an environment where he has to do something new, unless he's been trained, then there could be consequences. Granted, the fiery death of a jumbo jet crashing may be slightly different, but yes. So earlier on we were talking about cranes, so this is something that we can do. We can send our guys out and get them trained in cranes, but we've seen that already. So I'm just going to play you a short video. So this video is why we are using VR here in Skanska. So this is an anchorage failure that fortunately it didn't cause a fatality in this case, but we have had fatalities of a similar kind. So you can see there the wooden propping is falling off and off pops that gas main. Now that gas main is running quite an incredible pressure. So if that guy who was doing that bit of recording had been in that excavation and it would have hit him, he would have died. We know that because we already have killed a guy doing that. Just the same thing. Now, I'm not shy about talking about this because it needs to get out there and we need to put these things right and put our guys in the right situations. Yeah? It wasn't a design error, by the way. It was a training error through guys being put on site and not being correctly trained. Yeah? But it was a multitude of other things that led up to that particular incident. So, this is one of our temporary works designs. We're using the Vive for this bit of kit. So what we can do with here, we can set our guys, we can dig them a hole, because digging a hole's, I don't know if you guys know, is quite expensive. You can't just go anywhere, start digging someone's land up and just put a load of temporary works in there. It costs a lot of money, especially to do this type of thing. That's a very big excavation. So what we do is we build it virtually, we put some temporary works in there, and then we can put our guys inside that temporary works. They can step inside and have a look around. We can put some little errors in there and see if they spot it. They can go in there, they can measure it. They can do lots of different things using this technology. So this is some of our guys on site actually using the technology. This is our Humber project where we're laying gas pipes. So you can see there, these are guys in the excavations actually using that Vive kit. So it's a really important bit of training. They can get in there before they've even built it, before they've even stepped on site and start using this bit of kit to visualise how it's going to look and what they're going to be doing before they get out there. We can also put health and safety scenarios in there and just do a toolbox talk for all the guys. This is a bit of kit that I've been working on. It's a joint venture between us, the BRE, and a company called Unit 9. It's called Strike Dodger. It's just where the gamification word is sort of come in. We sort of won some funding from BIM City to build a game or a gaming platform in where you can put BIM models and create a safety scenario. So this is the actual product. I've got it on my mobile should anyone want to have a go of it when we're upstairs having a drink. But what it essentially does, you can put your BIM model into this platform, and then you can create a scenario. Then you can add some questions to the scenario, and you can start pushing this around to the guys. So in this case, it's digging an excavation and trying to create a safe excavation environment. So they have to scan the area. They have to do some hazard spotting at the start of the game. But you'll notice here that VR can retain 6 months from 20% to 8%. So the information that they're getting, they can retain that information 60% more because they're using VR. And this is one of the major problems that we have, is when a guy goes out on site, we'll give them some training to try and improve what they're doing. So we'll get them on the tools again and say, right, okay, use the cat and Jenny. They've done that all before. So they do that, they'll use the cat and Jenny, go outside, have some training, and we find a few months later the same behaviours are creeping back. So we're trying to use these tools to sort of change those behaviours and keep that in their mind. And this is actually, we sort of toyed about it. Do we put this on the Vive, make it a bit more exciting with paddles and stuff like that? Do we use an Oculus or something like that? But the problem with that is that you've got to take that kit and you've got to push it around an office. You've got to transport it places, and it's not going to get to a lot of people. We need to do this sort of thing now, which is why we're going for a sort of mobile option. And this is still in development. It's very, very close to being a full-blown game. So what we intend to do with this is push this out to all of our guys in Skanska once it's completed, and all our supply chain, and anyone else who actually wants to play the game. Yeah? And the scenario is not limited to this. So you could actually put this in a warehouse situation where you've got guys driving forklift trucks, and you want to see how they behave when they actually bank their trucks around and this, that, and the other. So you could actually do it for any scenario. Sorry. So why is this information sort of 20 to 80% more retainable over that 6 month period? It's because you're using a different part of your brain to store that information. So if you went outside into the street today and you stepped out in the street without looking and nearly got run over by a bus, that will stay in your brain, and it's a certain part of your brain that's storing that information. Because you're immersed in that actual situation, you were there, and the VR does the same thing. Because it's exciting and because it's something different, you're more likely to retain that information. And not only that, you not only retain that information, but you can take that piece of VR kit and the guys can take it home to the kids and they can show their kids and say, look, this is what Daddy learned today. So everybody is getting to see that piece of information. So just quickly moving on to augmented reality and where we're using augmented reality. Obviously everyone's seen Pokemon Go. That's how augmented reality sort of exploded into the world. There's probably a lot of people who still don't know what augmented reality is. They know what Pokemon Go is, but they don't know what augmented reality does. So we spoke about the daiquiri earlier. So I'm just going to play you a short video of where we see the daiquiri being used and how Skanska sees it being used.
More than ever before, utilities are presented with new technologies with the promise of making work easier. In addition to deciding which tools are useful, organizations have the challenge of incorporating these technologies into their own systems. Getting the most value involves both using these tools and having them be able to send information to each other quickly, as seen in this case. By first combining wearable technology that can identify the equipment, work orders can be entered quickly. Here, the operator uses the as-found checklist for transformers found in EBRI's PM Basis database, quickly sending his observations to the system. Automated analysis tools like the Diagnostic Advisor in EBRI's fleet-wide prognostics and health management program can take field observations, compare them against equipment history and operational data, determining the next diagnostic step, open-air acoustic analysis in this case. Without the feedback from the diagnostic system, this would have been split into two tasks taking more time, and without a common information model, these observations would have to be pushed along manually through independent systems, with cumbersome interfaces that slow down the work by having seamless data integration. We can work better together and have our tools and systems work for us for a change. The common information model enables interaction between different systems from varied vendors and flexibility on adding new solutions, keeping utilities free to apply new solutions for a changing environment.
Okay, so that's a video from the Electronic Power Research Institute. So at Skanska, we'll have two daiquiri helmets. They're very expensive pieces of kit, as you know, so I've never actually touched one yet, and I don't want to pick one up in case I drop it, because if you do drop it, it's very, it costs us a lot of money. But we're looking at ways in where we can apply this. So we work in substations, we work in water treatment sites, and one of the interesting things for me is how we link that data together. We've got BIM models that we can use to do this thing, but what about the sites that don't have BIM models? What about the sites that have just got legacy information? Now that legacy information, they may have actually put that into some sort of PDF, but how do we get to that data? So when the engineer goes on site, how does he actually get all of that data? It's all great and very well creating a work order, but what if he wants to see where that piece of kit come from and where is it manufactured? All that data is stored there, we just need to go grab it. So that's what we're looking into with our daiquiri helmets at the moment, is how can we get that data, put that clean data into a system, go grab it and push it down into the helmet so we can actually see all of that information. So just one more thing I want to go through, and that's something called AugView. So AugView is basically a geospatial system that's you get your data, you put your 3D model data into GIS, and then it pumps it through onto this system called AugView. And it was devised for underground utilities, so it's a New Zealand-based company. And because we struggle with, when we go and got designers, to visualise what do those utilities look like under the ground, but what do they look like in conjunction with the above ground. So when I got a designer designing his pipes going down the road, our guys would go out there and say, right, this is what he's designed, we go build it. And it was all of a sudden, as we're coming along, we're not interfering with the other utilities, but there's a lamppost there, or there's a pillar there, or there's a house there. And we're clashing with all of these things and bits of plant and utilities and other things around, and we need to know where that is. So what a great tool this is to go out, project that onto the ground, and it basically works with a GPS plugged into it. Or you can use, there's another piece of kit, Xeno 20, you can use that for as well. And you can just project your existing utilities along the ground. The designer can also see his plant that he's going to be designing. You can project it on the ground and you can see where that bit of plant goes. So this is a test that we've done at our head office for the actual bit of kit. So you can see where the pipes are coming up and where the actual chamber is there and where they're going off, and we can see the above ground bollards there, and you can just imagine if that was out in a busy street and you've got lamp columns and all the other paraphernalia that goes on the street, how this tool is really useful. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. So enjoy your drinks.